So, welcome once again to the grand finale of the Mindwars Mumbai Debate Championship 2021 in association with the Indian Schools Debating Society. We've had a great round of quarterfinals and we've come to that very, very crucial semi-finals. We're going to have two rounds of very, very, engaging, engrossing semi-finals, and I hope you're all ready for it. This is the topic. When casting characters in movies, filmmakers should only cast actors who have similar lived experiences to play the character. Example, casting only a Dalit actor to play Babasaheb Ambedkar in a biopic, or casting a visually impaired actor as the Daredevil in the Marvel series rather than Charlie Cox. To debate this rather interesting topic, we have two of our winners from the quarterfinals. We've got Anuja Randery from Jasudben ML School and Arvind Iyengar from Bombay Scottish Powai.
Imagine you go to watch a movie that is a reproduction of one of your favorite books and the actors act perfectly. The personalities they portray are exactly what you imagined when you read the book. This would be a huge film, right? And this is why I believe that filmmakers should cast actors who have lived the same experiences as the characters they are playing. I believe this for two reasons. Firstly, because it will help the filmmakers achieve the purpose of the movie better. And secondly, because it will be more safe for the actors. The purpose of a movie is normally two things: entertainment or portrayal of some historical event or some scientific discovery or something like that. So when you go for a movie for entertainment and you watch it and it's absolutely as if it's real, as if it's actually happened, you actually feel the movie, right? The reason a lot of movies become big is because the people can relate with the actors and they feel what the actors are feeling. So, and this is because the actors portray the characters really well. When people act movies that are portrayal of historical events, they need to be realistic. That is when people feel like they have watched the thing actually happen by going to a cinema hall. And so it gets more convincing. The bottom line is, the purpose of a movie that makes it so successful is making it convincing. Now, to be convincing, it is more preferable to hire actors who've already lived the experiences because they have already felt the things. All they have to do is recall things from the past, imagine they are in the same feeling, and then feel the same things to relate to bring relation to the audience. What about the safety of actors? There are actors who have tried to do this. Let me give you an example. Heath Ledger. He had to act the Joker in The Dark Knight, and the Joker is a psychopathic villain. So he spent 2 months locked in a hotel room without any contact with the outside world to bring those feelings into his head. You don't need a doctor to tell you that is absolutely detrimental to your mental health. Ashton Kutcher. He was acting Steve Jobs in the biopic Jobs, and he knew that Steve Jobs survived on a diet of only fruits. So he tried to do the same thing. What happened was reduced bone density and severe vitamin deficiencies, because of which he had to be admitted to the hospital. And this is not the state we want to put our actors in. Instead, we can take advantage of people who have already gone through these things and put them in movies so that they don't have to suffer and they can make use of their past experiences in movies. Now, one might argue that instead of having only few actors like Heath Ledger doing such things, this would prompt more than 20-30 actors who wanted to audition to go through the same experiences just to put their names up for the audition. But there are ways to solve this problem. One way is to give people the role for which the requirements for their role only 2 or 3 days before they are required to sign up for the auditions. 2 or 3 days will be too less time in which they can take such drastic actions that could make their life so bad. And if they did end up taking those actions, they could be asked to justify why they took them, whether they took them just for the purpose of the movie, in which case they won't be allowed to audition, or whether they actually went through them genuinely, in which case they will be allowed to audition. This way, we ensure the safety of our actors while making big steps to promote the quality of entertainment in today's time. And that's why I think we should irrefutably take this action.
Acting is behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. You have to just believe that you are the person you play and what is happening to you. Movies and films are the most lucid and effective methods of storytelling in today's time and one of the most important influencing factors for today's youth. And having more diversity in our films and movies can give a sense of broad-mindedness to the people around us. With increasing representation of the LGBTQ community, the specially abled and ethnic minorities, the question arises whether the actors should share the life experiences or certain traits of the character they play. And I will be presenting 4 pointers against this motion. Firstly, what is the aim of such selective casting? Authentic and accurate portrayal, right? Race and gender accurate casting is basic decency, but taking it down to one's caste is just ridiculous. Actors go through intensive background study, physical transformation, research and preparation for such challenging roles. Even Charlie Cox, who played the blind superhero Daredevil, intentionally blinded himself for the shooting of the first episode, and Jamie Foxx glued his eyes shut for 14 hours a day to play blind pianist Ray Charles. This is known as method acting, and when done well, that degree of realism sets them on the path to the Oscars. Also, Ledger's case doesn't really apply because at that point he was going through a divorce and severe depression. Even if not to such an extent, actors often live in similar surroundings and even interact with the character they play for months together, completely immersing them into their shoes. Secondly, good acting, really good acting, to spot is impossible to spot, as most of the time you forget they're even acting in the first place. It is a skill and knack that can never be undermined. Simply casting someone with a few similarities doesn't help because living a life and doing the same in front of a camera are totally different, and there is a perfect example in Bollywood itself for it. 2 sports dramas regarding popular cricketers, Sachin A Billion Dreams and MS Dhoni The Untold Story, were both released in close succession, within one Sachin playing himself, while in the latter Sushant Singh Rajput playing Captain Cool. And we all know which one was the more memorable and critically acclaimed one. In fact, MS Dhoni himself said that Sushant Singh's interpretation of his life was so realistic and flawless that even on searching his name in Google, the actor's face appears, almost making him synonymous to the sports icon. That is the true potential of a good actor, and no amount of shared experiences can replace it. Casting should not be influenced by caste, creed, religion, or sexual orientation, but only and only pure talent. An inspiring example of merit trumping looks or background is the South superstar Rajnikant. Thirdly, from a very practical and objective viewpoint, at the end of the day, this is a business, with the main aim being profit. After all, the success of a movie is judged by its box office collections, and if a director wishes to cast a household name in the industry who has the charisma, acting chops, and the name to elevate the overall appearance of the project, he's completely justified to do so, as a more experienced professional will be able to do a better job of the role as well. Finally, some may argue that representation of a person who has gone through similar hardships and difficulties would do justice to the character, but I say that a story well told is of much more honor to the personality's life and legacy, as that is what we aim to do through these various media. Just tell a story. Thank you.
Okay. So, in your speech, you mentioned that you agree that the point of a movie is to make money, and for that you need authentic portrayal of the characters, right? But in your speech, you argue that there were actors who blinded themselves to play the role of Daredevil, and you said that this was a form of acting, but it may have that name, but do you think it's really justified to blind yourself to act a certain role when you can find another actor who is blind and can do it instead perfectly well? I'm not talking about the same person like putting Sachin Tendulkar in one of his movies. He is not an actor, he is a cricketer. I'm talking about putting an actor who has the same thing in that role instead. Don't you think that's a better option?
So, when we cast a character, we cast them according to their merit. And if the non-blind person who has been selected to play the character has the merit, they have the merit of putting them in the shoes of any person, even if that person is blind. And a blind actor just may not have that amount of merit or talent, even though they share some similarities. So I think, first of all, when I said blinding, he meant blindfolding his eyes. No damage was made to the actor in any manner.
Okay. So no damage was made to this actor, but I gave you examples in which damage was made to actors when they try to do it, and there are many more. These are only two that I stated. And it does give him the right to decide what to do with his life, but we shouldn't encourage that, right? We should instead encourage the blind actor who is currently not as talented to work hard to get into the role and then play it, right? Because he will be able to relate in a way if he recalls his past experiences, and he will get a chance to get better and better too, and without harming anyone.
So first of all, I would repeat saying that there are extreme cases in every argument, and you can't take that as a norm. Also, you can't violate an actor's liberty for the methods they take to get into the character. And you may say that a blind actor should be given the responsibility of developing along the way. But we live in a meritocracy where talent is what decides. Talent is the deciding factor. And I think this is unfair to Charlie Cox himself, as he himself is a talented actor who has proved his merit as Daredevil in the auditions, and he should be given the opportunity rather than giving it to some blind actor who is not as talented. If the blind actor is more talented than Charlie Cox, then why not? But if there is more merit in a non-blind actor or a character who does not have similarities to that person or the character they're playing, then they should be given the opportunity to experiment and do method acting. I think it's completely fair. So my question to you is that by providing a system, as you said, by giving opportunities to blind or someone from the same caste or sect or with a similar life experiences or similar religion, for example, isn't that form of modified discrimination and double standards, as you are not deciding on the most deserving actor or the more deserving candidate, but just someone who is from a particular caste or creed or religion which happens to be the same as the character, and you are ignoring the complete form of merit of an actor, which should be superlative, which should be the most important factor. So we are ignoring that, and it's a form of discrimination. Don't you think it's not fair?
So I'd say any process of selection in that way would be considered discrimination. But you have to select, right? You can't say everyone is equal and then go ahead with it. That way we would have no movie in the end. So over here, when you look at it, the more meritable actor, they might do as good a job, but the other actor will have that feeling, right? When they have that feeling, they will be able to empathize with their audience more, and that's why the movie would be more successful. And that's my entire point. So I don't see any form of discrimination in here.
I don't know whether you've heard of the movie The Theory of Everything, which is the biopic of Stephen Hawking, played by Eddie Redmayne. And Stephen Hawking suffers from a motor neuron disease, therefore he's on a wheelchair, and Eddie Redmayne does not have any form of disability. However, his performance was so compelling that he won the Academy Award for the Best Leading Actor in a movie. And don't you think that for to do justice to an underrepresented community, for example, a blind actor, which do you think is better? A blind actor doing a shoddy job of a role, or a non-blind actor doing a really good job of a role, which has been evident in so many biopics, where a person who has no background in or subject of that has played such a remarkable representation of famous personalities. Don't you think quality should be given priority, quality and merit should be given priority in any case?
I do think quality should be given priority, and that's why I support casting actors who have the same lived experience. And over here, you're not completely disqualifying merit, because a person has a very complex life, right? And so in any act, they can relate to them in any possible way, and they can still get in, audition for it, and after pass that phase, it's all based on merit. So, and a blind actor, they might do a shoddy job, but that's the role of the director, to train them properly, to give them that those quality of instructions which make them play as good a job, because they're blind and they can do it. Tell them where to relate and where not to relate.
Arvind, you have, throughout your speech, made it seem as if there are an equal number of marginalized people competing as there are people with privilege, and that people with privilege just naturally had more merit. and therefore got into these roles. Which do you think is the more likely case? This is the first part of my question. Do you even think that there are lots of, say, Dalit actors or actors with disabilities even auditioning to begin with? And if it's the case that they're not auditioning, is the issue that we aren't actively looking for the talented people among those pools, rather than that they just didn't happen to have merit?
Well, I would definitely say that the especially abled and belonging to the LGBTQ community, for example, or other repressed classes, do face a certain amount of discrimination, and probably we may not be looking hard enough for them. But the debate here says that we should favor those with those special capabilities or belonging to those communities. What I mean to say is that at every point of time, it should be merit. If a blind actor is more meritorious compared to a non-blind actor, then so be it. But we should not favor any part or side of the competition. And you are right, they do face a certain amount of discrimination, and filmmakers should look harder. But they should not be given a special preference per se, which is, of course, the topic of the debate.
Right, but I guess my question is, in a world where we didn't need to favor people with lived experiences, there's then no incentive to look for people with lived experiences, right? Because you can then just say, I'm happy to cast the best actor. The best actor so happens to be this mass hero that I've been casting in 3 other movies that made me billions in the box office, willing to do this character script, so I'm just happy to put them in this movie. So what is the incentive to look for and do the difficult job of looking for a Dalit actor who could be a star tomorrow and inspire millions of Dalit kids to take up acting?
Well, you see, that's the case in the movie business. Some directors in Bollywood, for exception, especially in Bollywood, is that they often they have tie-ups, there's lobbying in their groups, there's a politics in that as well, and they tend to choose the mass actors. However, there are multiple examples in Bollywood where the directors take the untrodden path, take the harder way, just for the quality of the picture, just for the quality and authenticity of the picture. And that is, for example, in the recent Marvel movie Eternals, there is this deaf superhero known as Makari, who is played by an actual deaf actress known as Lauren Ridloff. Now, there is no shortage of talented actresses in Hollywood, and definitely Marvel has the influence to hire them. But the director Chloe Zhao chose to cast a deaf actress for the authenticity and to improve the overall quality and richness of the role. So you will always have directors like that who will choose the untrodden path, to choose the hard and difficult way just for the quality of the film.
Thank you, Arvind. I'm now going to hand it to the expert among the 3 of us here.
Thank you. Most interesting topic. I have a bunch of questions for you, Anuja, 5 actually, but rolled into sort of one. A couple of them are observations, really. What you're suggesting is the equivalent of dying for a death scene. It would be the end of your career in your very first or second film, because, if you were to die, then you have to die. The other thing is that a film is a film, not a documentary. A lot of the documentary work that happens casts people in... It's shot in a guerrilla style, on live location, with real people doing their own thing. My larger question to you is, it's an art form. At the end of the day, it is 2 things. It's creativity married with commerce. So if you have to marry creativity with commerce, you have to allow creativity to create as it feels best to the creator, which in the case of a film is the director. First the writer and then the director. They should have the freedom to, don't you think they should have the freedom to cast whoever they think is best suited, what marries creativity and commerce, so as to make sure that the film is realized both artistically and works to its highest potential in terms of commercials as well. So putting any sort of constraint, be it lived experiences, be it ethnicity, makes it seem like there is a quota in films as well. And I think we should really leave that alone out of films.
The director having freedom. This is more about a recommendation than a law. And if you see, there are many ways out of it for actors, right? Because as I said, a person has many complex traits, and there are millions of things you can relate to with any person, right? So there are ways out for the actor. It's just streamlining it. And of course, the director will have freedom to do what he wants with that select group. But this will be more like a recommendation for who would suit the director more. Thank you.
Shall we get on to the marking of both the contestants?
It's a question that we're hit with every day when we make choices about which movies to go and watch and which ones not to. Given that, we thought that there was one speaker who did better in this debate and who would be moving forward to the grand finals of the Mumbai Debate Championships 2021. And that speaker in this debate today is the speaker against the motion, Arvind. Congratulations and commiserations, Anuja.
Congratulations. Here is my big question to all debaters now. How important, you can both answer it, how important is it to actually believe in what you're fighting for, vis-a-vis having the ability to argue and put a debate forward? Do you often find yourself debating on a subject which you actually don't believe in?
Interestingly, this happened just yesterday, where we were discussing about a topic in which mainstream media should not be allowed to call over people who have widely criticized to have racist and exclusionary views. I personally feel that the right to freedom of speech is violated blatantly and shamelessly daily. And I honestly did not share the views which I shared, but
you debated it.
I debated it, yes. So sometimes you just have to lie. Sometimes
What
you just
about
have
you?
to.
It does help to believe in the same thing, but then it's very interesting to try to convince yourself to believe in it just for the time being, so that you can put it across convincingly. So
Okay. Which means this subject is not true, because you don't have to believe in anything to actually do it. So you don't need to have life experiences to act. There you go. Anyway, congratulations, Arvind. Welcome to the finals, to the grand finale. Well fought. Yeah? Come. You can now shake hands, make up, and move on